Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to Discover Your Dreams. This space is rooted in the grounded life philosophy where inner peace becomes the foundation for purposeful living. Here we focus on regulation, awareness, and conscious self-leadership as a way of returning to ourselves and meeting life from a more grounded place. Before we begin today, take one slow breath and let it settle you. Allow your attention to drift toward your body, noticing whatever sensations are present without trying to change them. Bring to mind the last difficult decision you had to make. Perhaps it involved a relationship, your work, your health, or even the direction of your future. As you recall it, gently ask yourself what state you were in when you made that choice. Were you calm or overwhelmed? Grounded or rushed? Clear or conflicted? This matters because today we're exploring something that has shaped my own understanding of life more than almost anything else. The idea that the quality of our decisions is deeply influenced by the state we're in when we make them. When inner peace becomes the place you operate from, the entire landscape of your choices begins to shift, and the world around you often shifts with it. Most people don't make decisions from a place of peace. They make them from discomfort, from fear, from urgency, from pressure, from loneliness, from anxiety, and from the deep desire to escape uncertainty. When we feel unsettled inside, our instinct is to reach for anything that promises relief, even if it isn't the choice that truly serves us. This was a lesson I had to learn more than once. When we're overwhelmed, almost any decision can feel like the right one if it promises quick relief. But relief and alignment are two very different things. Relief says, just make this feeling stop. Alignment asks, what is actually true here? Those two sentences lead you in completely different directions, and learning to tell them apart changes everything. There was a period in my life when I craved certainty with everything in me. I wanted answers I could hold on to, clarity I could trust, and some kind of glimpse into what the future was going to look like. The unknown felt unbearable, and because I was so uncomfortable with not knowing, I pushed myself to make decisions quickly. It didn't even matter what the decision was. I just wanted the discomfort to stop, and choosing something, anything, felt like the fastest way to quiet the uncertainty inside me. Looking back, I can see that I wasn't actually trying to choose wisely at all. I was trying to escape the discomfort I felt inside. Because of that, I wasn't truly listening to myself with any clarity. I was reacting to my emotions instead of responding to the situation with intention. Ask yourself gently and honestly whether you've ever made a decision simply because you wanted the discomfort to stop. Take a moment to pause with that. I think most of us have, at one point or another, found ourselves choosing not from clarity, but from the urge to make an uneasy feeling go away. Inner peace doesn't suddenly hand you the right answer, and that distinction matters. It doesn't give you a script to follow or a perfectly mapped out plan. What it offers instead is something far more powerful: perspective, space, clarity, and a deeper sense of presence. From that steadier place, you're able to hear yourself with far more honesty and precision, and the decisions you make begin to reflect who you truly are, rather than what you're trying to escape. Fear tends to whisper, "What if this goes wrong?" pulling your attention toward every possible outcome that could fall apart. Peace, on the other hand, gently asks, "What feels true?" inviting you back into yourself. Fear urges you to choose quickly, as if speed could protect you. Peace reminds you that you're allowed to pause, that you can take a breath before you move. Fear searches for guarantees that don't actually exist, Peace understands that certainty is never promised, and yet it trusts that you can navigate whatever comes. One of the biggest shifts in my decision-making happened when I stopped treating uncertainty like an emergency. It sounds simple, almost too simple, but it changed the entire way I moved through my life. Instead of rushing toward answers just to soothe my discomfort, I began learning how to sit with the questions themselves. Instead of trying to force clarity into existence, I allowed clarity to arrive in its own time. What surprised me most was how often the answer revealed itself the moment I stopped chasing it. When I stopped gripping so tightly, when I stopped demanding certainty on command, space opened up. And in that space, the obvious path often became unmistakably clear. When your nervous system is activated, your entire world tends to shrink. Your attention narrows to threats, to worst-case scenarios, and to whatever might bring immediate relief. Everything feels urgent. Everything feels high stakes, and your mind becomes more focused on survival than on wisdom. But when you're regulated and grounded, something very different happens. Your perspective widens. You're able to see more, feel more, and consider more. Possibilities that were invisible in a stressed state suddenly come into view. Options that once felt impossible begin to make sense. And that shift in internal state changes the quality of your decisions in a profound way. Let me ask you something. When you feel uncertain, do you tend to A, make decisions quickly, or B, wait until you feel more grounded? I'd love to hear your answer in the comments. Let's bring these pillars together in a way that shows how they actually work within you. Regulation is the moment you choose to calm your nervous system before making a major decision, creating enough steadiness for clarity to even be possible. Awareness is the practice of noticing what is influencing your thinking, your emotions, your fears, your assumptions, and the stories you might be telling yourself without realizing it. Detachment is the shift that happens when you stop demanding certainty and allow yourself to move without needing every answer up front. Alignment is the quiet inner check-in where you ask what feels true, not what feels easiest or safest, but what resonates with who you are. And sovereignty is the trust you place in yourself, the willingness to listen to your own inner voice, even when it feels unfamiliar or inconvenient. Together, these elements form the foundation of grounded decision-making, a way of choosing that comes from clarity rather than urgency, and from inner steadiness rather than fear. Fear-based decisions have a way of creating even more fear. Each time we choose from panic or urgency, we unintentionally teach the nervous system that this is how problems are solved, that rushing and tightening and bracing are necessary for survival. Over time, that pattern becomes familiar. Urgency stops feeling like a temporary state and starts becoming a habit, a default mode the body slips into without question. A grounded life interrupts that cycle. It shows your nervous system a different rhythm, one where calm is possible, where space exists, and where decisions don't have to be made from pressure. Little by little, that steadier way of choosing becomes the new pattern, and fear no longer gets to lead the way. The next time you're facing a significant decision, try asking yourself a few simple questions. Start with, what am I feeling right now? Let yourself answer honestly, without judging whatever comes up. Then ask, am I seeking relief or alignment? Notice whether you're trying to escape discomfort or move toward what feels genuinely right for you. And finally, ask, if fear were not driving this decision, what would I choose? Don't rush to respond. Let the question breathe a little. Give your answer space to rise to the surface and see what becomes clear when you're not letting fear run the conversation. One of the greatest gifts of inner peace isn't certainty at all. It's the way it transforms your relationship with uncertainty. You start to realize that not knowing isn't dangerous, and it isn't a sign that something is wrong. It's simply a part of being human, part of moving through a life that is always unfolding. When uncertainty stops feeling like a threat, everything inside you softens. You're no longer bracing for impact or trying to control every outcome. From that calmer place, your decisions naturally become clearer because you're choosing from steadiness rather than fear. Inner peace doesn't promise that every decision you make will be perfect. What it does is change the place inside you that those decisions come from, and that shift makes all the difference. When your mind is calm and steady, you see possibilities, nuances, and truths that a fearful mind simply can't access. A peaceful mind perceives the world through clarity rather than panic, and that alone transforms the choices you're able to make. The goal isn't to get rid of uncertainty altogether. Uncertainty is part of being alive, and it always will be. The real goal is to become grounded enough that uncertainty no longer has the power to control you or push you into choices that don't feel right. When that shift happens, something beautiful opens up. You stop making decisions just to escape fear or discomfort, and you start making decisions that actually align with who you are and what you value. Your choices become less about avoiding something and more about moving towards something true. You don't need perfect certainty to make decisions that feel aligned with who you are. You only need enough inner peace to hear yourself clearly, to sense the difference between fear and truth, and to trust the voice that speaks when you are calm. When you can access that place, even briefly, your choices start to come from a deeper, steadier part of you. I'll see you next time.